You can tell our next guest is creative in the kitchen. He says he reads each recipe like a novel, the ingredients being the characters and the instructions the plot. Scott Alves Barton is an executive chef consultant and graduate student, as well as a contributor in Ramin Ghanesham's America I Am Pass It Down Cookbook, and you're looking at it right there. Joins me now to talk about getting your kids to be creative and successful in the kitchen. Welcome, Scott. It's great to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We are actually talking about healthy foods for kids.
Yeah.
And why is it so important these days, you think we need to be really thinking about that?
Well, I think if you look at the statistics, we have children who are having issues of obesity, high blood pressure, heart disease in pre-adolescent stages that shouldn't, ideally, no one should be having, but it's usually what we associate with somebody who's 60 plus and not somebody who's 15 or 14.
That's right. The kids are really mirroring the adult population.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we're socializing our kids to eat quick on the run and not to think about what they eat and not really consider that to sit down at a table and share a meal with family or friends is an important moment, not just for the food, but sharing your stories, talking about what happened in your day, and taking time to eat, not just feeding the engine as though we're filling up at the gas station.
That's right. Feed the brain and feed the family culture.
Exactly.
It's all about that dinner table. Well, we're not talking about dinner food here, but this is more like breakfast or snack food?
Or a snack that you could do, and it's one of those things that with a little bit of help your children could do on their own. What we did in this cookbook is that it's predominantly recipes for adults, the recipe part, but there's also a small section of stuff you can do with your kids and some things that kids themselves made.
Now, is this in the cookbook, this recipe is? All right,
is.
Very good. And you call it what?
Granola bars.
Okay, granola bars. Let's take a look at the ingredients.
Okay, so you've got some old-fashioned rolled oats, some brown sugar, honey. I chose these today. You could do what you want, but I chose pecans, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, psyllium seeds, dried cranberries, dried apricots, and it's a little bit of neutral oil, like canola oil.
Where do we start?
Okay, first you're going to take your oats, and you're going to take the oil.
You have about 2 or 3 cups of oats?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2 cups of oats.
2 cups of oats.
And about a half a cup of oil.
Okay.
I'm going to stir this around.
Any kind of oil? Canola?
Yeah, you don't want something like olive oil. You want something that's neutral.
Okay.
If you eat it, it could be peanut oil.
Okay.
And then I'm
Mix
just going to mix it up. You can put in a pinch of cinnamon, a pinch of salt if you like, and I'm going to put this in the oven.
For how long?
About 10 minutes, and I'm going to roast it so that the oatmeal gets nice and toasty.
Is that about, what temperature, 325?
350.
350?
And you see I have some here that I did where it's nice and brown.
Oh, yes.
And it gets a little
That's
crispy.
Exactly what you want it to look like, that golden brown. Okay.
So now, if I have that to start with, I'm then going to take the brown sugar and honey, a half a cup of each, and put them in a pot to cook.
All right, and which you started it already.
I started already.
Let's get it warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, because it's going to be sticky
it's
now.
It's a little gooey now.
But that's what you want, because that's what's going to make
you want it gooey.
You want it to come together, because 2 things are going to happen. You're going to melt the sugar so it's liquid and it's not grainy or sandy, and you're going to get the honey hot so it'll help bind everything.
Oh, it's
see that? It'll loosen up right up.
It loosens up rather quickly. That's great. Okay.
And so then, it's a real simple thing. You know, it's approximately 10 minutes in the oven to do the oats, more or less, depending on your oven.
Oh, yes, look at that. Okay.
So you could, if you wouldn't mind, I just made a little mess, sorry.
That's okay. I always make a mess in the kitchen. Want me to put it in?
Pour that right on top.
All right, I'll do it. Very good. Okay.
Okay.
Wow. Oh. It smells so good. All right.
And, you know, somebody's going to say to me, well, can we get rid of the sugar? And I understand that we need to be mindful, but I think in relative terms, that's why I add different nuts that will give you omega-3s and some fatty acids and some different vitamins. And so then, you know, you could add sesame seeds, all these different things in it. So now I've got that all stirred up.
All right.
And now I'm just going to take, I have sunflower seeds. I've chopped some pecans.
About a half a cup of each, or a
cup? I want about a cup total.
Okay.
And then today I have dried cranberries and dried apricots.
Yes.
You could use raisins. Again, you could mix it as you want. And again, this is going to be about a cup total.
Cup each? Okay. Okay. Let's get that out.
Off.
There you go. Okay, everything's in.
Everything's in, and then I'm just going to stir it around. You know, it's gloppy.
While you're doing that, let's talk about the cookbook. This is a cookbook that you say is really a culmination of a lot of recipes taken from families.
From families across the country, and also it's got a very comprehensive historical aspect. It talks about how people came here as slaves, what they did to survive, what they did in terms of producing food and developing a cuisine here in America that's a mixture of both American influences, Native American influences, African, Caribbean, and so it's a very interesting amalgam.
Oh, that's great. Now, you mix that all up.
So then
now what happens?
I'm going to take it and put it... Ooh,
whoops, it's okay.
I'm a danger guy here.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, now I'm going to pour it. I'm glad we have another spoon at least.
There you go.
I'm going to pour it in.
So put it back in there. We're about a minute.
Yeah, and I'm going to just scrape this without breaking the container.
Yeah, it's stuck, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to get this all down on one level, try to pat it down. And, you know, I made this recipe so you could do it enough for a child to do, but you see it's a pretty good volume.
Yeah, and this is a fun thing to make with your children in the kitchen. This
and
is
you
something
can actually
enjoy.
pat it down so you get one level.
All right.
Nice and even.
Do you put this back in the oven?
And now I'll bake it for about 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, 15, about 30 seconds at 15 minutes at 350 again?
Yeah, keep it at the same temp.
Because I want to remind all of you that we will, of course, have the recipe for you on our website. And here comes the finished product. And smells
see, I'm
good,
taking
yes.
And there it comes out.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
And once it cools, I'll cut it into squares, and then we can
try it,
yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. Should we try it now?
I'll cut it. It might come apart because it's warm, but I'll cut it and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it a little too warm? Okay. We're just going to take a little bite really quickly.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll just take a little crumb. That's okay. I'll just take a crumb. Okay. Ooh, that looks good.
Because when it cools, it'll solidify.
Oh, I love it.
And you know, it's not
I love
that,
the consistency.
In the end, it's not that sweet.
You're right. Scott, thank you so much for being here. It's